I've got a big panel in front of me, but let me introduce them. Ashok Wadhwa of Ambit, Nirmal Jain of IIFL, Nilesh Shah of Axis Direct, and Prabhat Awasthi of Nomura. Over the next 1 hour or so, they'll tell you what the market would be happy with the budget. But before all of that, let me begin by asking them about the CRR cut, which would have taken a few people by surprise. Prabhat, how will the markets read it? Was it expected, or do you think it causes a little bit of cheer?
Well, I think it was unexpected at this time. I think there was a big expectation last week when the liquidity deficit reached 1,80,000 crores. So I think the expectation had shifted out maybe to the policy, but we are now reaching the maximum liquidity deficit scenario with tax outflows coming up middle of this month. So it was urgently needed given the liquidity situation. It will definitely be a positive as far as market is concerned in terms of expectations, and obviously will bring much needed liquidity to the system.
Ashok, can we still expect a repo rate cut on Friday or Thursday, or do you think it's very unlikely that something will happen in the monetary policy now?
I personally don't think, Udyan, anything else is going to happen in the monetary policy. If they actually wanted to do more, they would have waited and offered a consolidated concession on Friday. Having said that, the cut was expected. I mean, it may not have been expected today, it may have been expected last week, but generally the expectation was that RBI is going to ease liquidity, and that's essential, that's needed, and I'm glad it's here, it's welcome for sure.
Yeah. Nilesh, should that be read as just a pure liquidity measure, or does it have any kind of interest rate implications that the market should take away?
If we see the policy of interest rate cut, generally first the liquidity increases either through by CRR cut or something else, and then the policy rate starts declining. At 1,80,000 crore of liquidity shortage last week, the normal thing was to have a CRR cut, increase liquidity, and then create the ground for policy rate cut at a later date. So certainly with this CRR cut, one could assume that policy rate cut, if not on Thursday, at some point of time in near future is on the anvil.
Nirmal, what are your expectations? Do you think repo rates are going to come down, or because of the way crude is moving and liquidity is sloshing around, the RBI might wait longer than most people think?
I think RBI will wait till April for the repo rate cut, and the CRR cut has come a little ahead of time because everybody is expecting in the 15th when credit policy is due. But I guess it's because advanced tax payments are due on 15th and liquidity is really tight, so RBI is forced to do this a little ahead of the schedule. Given RBI's track record, whatever pronouncements they have made, is unlikely that they will do it on this Thursday, but I think it's it's highly probable that they will do it in the month of April.
So you think the monetary policy now can be a non-event?
No, monetary policy will be quite an event because interest rates will now start heading southward.
No, I'm talking about Thursday's monetary policy.
Thursday's monetary policy will be quite a non-event, looks like.
You agree, Prabhat, or do you think we may still get a surprise?
Well, you never know, but I think in all probability you'll probably not see, because I think you got a budget and RBI will probably also wait to see what fiscal does. And if you look at what RBI has kept saying, they have kept harping on the urgent need to reduce fiscal deficit. So if fiscal is something that you can hang your hat on, then the policy can move forward more aggressively. So I think it probably will depend on what happens in the budget itself in terms of, so I think they'll wait.
Ashok, a lot of people believe that after what happened with the election results, maybe the budget just got tougher from the FM. Do you think there is a connection, or are people sort of drawing too much of an inference from the election results?
Oh, then unfortunately, I tend to agree with most people that the unfortunate development for the Congress will have a profound effect on the budget. My own view is that the budget date was positioned in a manner that Congress could actually see the results and hopefully, with a positive outcome, deliver on several of the outstanding issues, particularly long-term policy issues that have suffered over the last many months. I was hoping that there would be some clear definition on FDI policy. I can't see that happening in the current environment. I was hoping that government would come up with stronger measures on fiscal deficit, containment of fiscal deficit, including hopefully deregulation of the diesel prices. this political result makes it that much more difficult for them. So I won't say it's impossible for the government to step up. I mean, one contrarian view at this point of time is really the Congress has nothing to lose, and they are in a relatively difficult situation, and one of the ways to get out of this difficult situation is to actually go out in an aggressive manner. But that would be challenging the normal, and the reason I say that is because they have to be very concerned about midterm elections and the threat of a midterm election and what it would do to Congress. So I would say my expectation is it's become that much more difficult for the finance minister to come out with a positive, proactive, aggressive budget. It's got to be a little more populist now than was expected with a better result for the Congress.
I'll talk about each of the issues that you've raised, but Nirmal, do you agree with Ashok that the election results might have some bearing on the budget?
Yes, election results will have bearing on the budget, but my view is a little different from what Ashok is analyzing. I think if you really look at it in UP, Akhilesh Yadav won on the plank of development. And what Congress and many political thinkers are now coming to a conclusion that people don't want charities but they want work. There's a very good editorial on this. So there is a view, as he rightly said, that Congress has very little to lose. One. Secondly, although Mamata might threaten, but all other political parties don't want elections or midterm poll. So practically speaking, the probability of that is very, very low. Nobody is prepared for it. Even SP is not prepared for it because they had a good luck in assembly and they won't like to take risk with parliamentary elections at this point in time because the factors that govern votes are very different. In UP state, they wanted a change, the people of UP. So under these circumstances, I think there's a good chance that finance minister may be more pragmatic. They have seen that populist measures don't work. So this is one opportunity for them to take a different path and do something which is at least good for the economy and reforms.
But if that was the case, Nilesh, why haven't they raised oil prices post the election results? Was that not the first litmus test that if the government was not worried about election results and its impact, then why are they still sitting on fuel prices?
Let's hope that there's not deregulating oil prices in practical sense rather than theoretical sense, because they have some S up their sleeve in the budget. Maybe they can put some amount of levy on SUVs and diesel motor cars, which is net present value of diesel subsidy. That way, without raising diesel prices, they can kind of control diesel subsidy. So let's hope that in the budget, the government will come out with this innovative ways whereby they can achieve their populist objective and at the same time the good economics also plays. If we see in a very simple sense, everyone wants lower fiscal deficit. Now, one thing is to talk about our fiscal deficit at between 5.5% to 6% versus 4.6% projected last year. The whole world is at 9% and 10%. So one, we have to tell outsiders that look, we are in bad shape, but we are in far better shape than yours. Second, we can raise revenue by doing certain adjustments, like our excise or Senvet rates are below pre-crisis level. Can we make minor adjustments over there? That will result into some amount of revenue. Divestment has not been pursued in all aggressiveness. Can we pursue that? Only tobacco for cigarette is, levying is getting taxed. Now, can that be extended to BDs and gutkhas and other things? Surely it achieves the populist objective and at the same time plays good economics. So let's hope that in this budget they come out with certain solutions which are innovative, which meets economics as well as politics, and hopefully that's probably what is keeping them from not raising oil prices now.
That's an optimistic view. Prabhat, do you agree with that, or is it a sign of weakness that the government is unable still to move on fuel prices?
Well, I think, what Nilesh said about raising taxes, excise duty, service tax, etc., that is pretty much a given, right? So that I think will probably be done in the budget. The issue essentially is whether you can cover the amount of oil subsidy with raising of taxes on cars, and because it's trucks which actually take away most of the diesel subsidy, even kerosene subsidy, some would argue. The second thing is that you're exposed to a risk. In current scenario, if oil prices were to rise, let's say Iran escalates and you don't have a policy, then let's say oil goes to 130, 140, then you've got an open-ended scheme going where you really don't have a control over your fiscal. The problem in current environment is, with your current account deficit, that you're basically open to any sort of external shock. Our current account deficit is already high. Oil goes to 140. How will you defend your rupee? So in absence of sound policy on oil, especially today, I think we are exposed to a risk. Now, whether the government has will to do it is another issue. Clearly, I think there should have been a price hike of oil after the elections, whichever the results went. And if they don't do it, I think you're leaving the economy open to external shocks.